And Jim Davidson, which we were going to talk about as well, is another.
Yeah. Jim Davidson. Jim Davidson was in the 90s, late 80s, 90s, like one of the biggest acts on TV, like, absolute primetime Saturday night. But it's kind of, okay, I didn't know, I only ever knew Jim Davidson as Saturday night entertainer man. I didn't know Jim Davidson as the sort of comedian. So I know, because obviously I was a child and then just never watched his stuff. So I didn't realize sort of how, what's the best way of putting it?
Provocative.
Yes, that his stuff was.
That's a Finn Taylor. That's a Finn Taylor joke. Finn Taylor, very funny comedian, but he says that, he goes, "The Telegraph calls me provocative, which means I'm offensive, but I went to private school."
But yeah, it just feels like he just lent into it and just went all the way with it. It's what was the actual quote? He said something about diversity should do a dance about black men mugging people.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
There was a so he's, I mean, look, we don't want to be ageist here, but he's in his 60s, and his whole shtick anyway when he was a comedian was being this sort of, like, I'm just telling how he's, mate, telling how he's. But there was an article in the Times last week written by a guy who was similar age to Jim Davidson, just being like, just saying comedians aren't funny now. And he's like, and his whole thing was like, what happened to Ken Dodd? You never heard Ken Dodd talk about politics? He just had a laugh.
That's what we need, more Ken Dodd.
We need more Ken Dodd.
More acts like that.
Come on, guys. It's basically just, why don't comedians get back to just talking about how marriage is shit and they don't get young people? Why don't we just have more of that? Why he had a real go at Nish Kumar, which, look, I'm not Nish's biggest fan, but it was so funny. He literally had sentences like, you have comedians, so-called comedians like Nish Kumar talking about politics. But that's his thing. That's what we all do.
The issue is, like, who really does like mother-in-laws? That is it. I've thought this for a while.
Been talked about enough. The thing is, guys, I don't know if you know this, but there's a load of differences between men and women, and you don't really realize until you're married to them, and then it all kicks off.
Who would have thunk it?
But he didn't even. He was so narrow that he didn't even talk about British comedians. He was specifically talking about English comedians. So he wouldn't even mention, like, Kevin Bridges never has taken a big political stance or anything. He sells out the O2 Arena just doing what is
all the guys other than Russell Howard, who does take a political stance, but like on his show or whatever. But Jack Whitehall, McIntyre, Kevin Bridges, none of them take a big political stance. So I don't.
But he's not interested in that. He's interested in so-called comedian Nish Kumar.
That's the one who riles him up. Fuck you now.
Yeah, look, I'm not the massive fan of his comedy, but I mean, the amount of death threats that guy must get on a regular basis from people who are just fucking pissed off at him being on TV.
It's crazy.
But yeah, Jim Davis. I mean, like, this is what we talked about before. He's on YouTube, is he? He's on.
Yeah, he's got a YouTube channel. Yeah.
And look, hey,
he's getting a lot of hits. He's getting a lot of hits. I can't deny it. I cannot deny how many hits he's getting.
On the week when every single person we've ever gigged with was on Jonathan Ross's stand-up show, I think we might need to go.
Not us.
We might need to go onto YouTube.
Yeah. A little gutted we didn't make it, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. Yeah, it's just depressing, isn't it?
That's the selling out. We've talked about this before, and we're the only ones who have this take, as far as I've heard. That is the selling out now. It used to be doing a Coca-Cola advert or whatever, but everyone fucking does that. Everyone gets brand endorsements. Now the selling out is being a
Shout out Mo Gilligan. Shout out Mo Gilligan, the face of Coke, currently in the UK.
Fair fucking play. Cheddar for that.
Oh, big bucks.
Big money. So, but now the selling out is being a straight white man who doesn't try to be interested in how society is changing and evolving. It just is ranting on YouTube about how you can't say anything anymore and you're banned and this country's gone to the dogs. That is the new selling out. We could do that, Tom. It's easy, isn't it? Oh, look, I live in Whitechapel. I live next to a mosque. That's
Yeah.
literally my life. But but I I find that quite nice. But other people, if I did that on YouTube, suddenly, boom, hits are coming
Yeah.
up. I mean, it'd still
You
be
need to.
100% men essentially, but I think
Yeah. Oh, there's zero chance you'll ever get a female audience.